Foreign aid. I don't understand foreign aid. Number one, Australia's in debt. So the money's borrowed. Now think about that. That's an insane concept. In debt. It's not that we haven't got the money. We're already in debt. So imagine you owe, think of this in your personal life. You take out a loan for 100 grand. You're working and you're paying interest now. You're paying back the 100 grand plus you're paying interest. So you're working for the interest as well. The price you paid for having the money now that you couldn't wait or whatever reason was, let's leave that aside now. You're working to pay off your debt and the interest. Are you really in a position to take out another loan to help out someone? That's a big, big call. You better really, 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 really want to. Now, if the Australian people really, really, really want to, they can do it voluntarily. If you really, really want to give to the starving children of Bangladesh, if you want to give to the starving blah, 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 the victims of the earthquake or whatever it is, you put your hand in your pocket. You can. Nothing's stopping you doing that. Nothing is stopping people doing that. In fact, they do it all the time. They do it all the time. You see people on the street rattling tins. But when the government does it, it's very, very different. Because they are forcing the rest of us to be in debt. Now, the other thing is, it's not charity if you have no choice. When someone rattles a tin, it says, hey, would you like to donate to the Urella? Would you like to donate to this foundation? They rattle the tin and you think and you decide, oh yeah, I will put in 50 cents. I'll put in $1. I'll put in $10. I'll put in $100. Whatever you want. And if you want to put in nothing, that's your choice. Now, if you put in something, and let's say you feel good about it, you think, yeah, I think I will donate to that cause. You spend the rest of that, you get the good feeling. You get the reward of feeling like you did something good. You didn't have to do it. You didn't have to give anything, but you worked and you earned $20 an hour and you gave $20 that hour you worked. Think, you know what? I will work for 1 hour to give to someone and I'll choose. And if I choose not to, and I won't. And it's a good feeling because but if they're not rattling tins, but they're rattling a gun, you're shaking. They're not shaking a tin in your face. They're shaking a gun in your face. They're saying, hand over $20 because we, inverted commas, we, the rest of society, have decided that you should give the $20. That's very, very different. You don't get that good feeling anymore. So it's not really charity. It's not really charity. So I would get rid of all foreign aid. The idea is ridiculous. And, I could frame it as, hey, look, we're not getting rid of foreign aid. Again, this is the thing. We're not talking about foreign aid. We're talking about government foreign aid. If you want to give money, then volunteer organizations can do it and people will donate voluntarily. Oh, but what if they don't? If they don't, then that's kind of like a vote, isn't it? So if everyone says, no, I don't want to give, let's say charity X, and you make it completely voluntarily, and you go around and you ask people, and then no one wants to give a single cent. That's called democracy. And again, if you pull out your gun, you say, you know what, I think you're all wrong, and I know what's better for you, so I'm going to wave this gun, and I'm going to give you your money, and I'll... See, it's very different. It's not ethical. It's not moral. And it needs to stop. It's just really... It's a bad, bad thing. So, wave tins, not guns. And also, I think there's a whole other argument here about the practicality of the fact is when you give your $20 to charity, whether how much of it actually gets to the charity versus the big bucks. In fact, there was some charity, whether it goes to the pockets of the administrators. In fact, there was some charity. It was, what was it? I forgot what it was. Where the money you gave was for some cause, but the actual money went to raising awareness. So they'd have conferences and awareness and pay budgets, but they didn't actually have any money to give to the actual cause. It was just, we're raising awareness, like say domestic violence or something. It's donate to the ribbon campaign. It's to raise awareness, and then they do more and more and more. Again, voluntarily, it's none of my business what you do with your money, but it is my business when someone waves a gun and says, you are going to do this whether we like it or not, leaving aside the fact they're in debt. It's absolutely insane. So my argument is to stop the government doing it. This is the whole what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about should you give charity or not. See, there's two separate questions if people get confused. Question one is, should you give charity or should you not give charity? Or how much should you give or how much shouldn't you give? That's not the question here. The question is, if you and I disagree on how much we should give, do you have the right to pull out your gun and say, no, we're going to do it my way and you will give this much? That's where the ethics comes into it. And so, in conclusion, stop this coercive so-called charity, which is redistribution of money against people's will, which is called theft, and let people decide themselves what they want to give. And let's say, okay, some people listening to this saying, yeah, but if people won't give anything, let's say you're right. Let's say you're right, and no one gives a single cent anymore to charity. So not a single Australian gives any money to any charity at all. And they go up to all the rich people and they say, hey, listen, would you like to do this and that? And we will call it the Packer Foundation and we'll call it the Murdoch Foundation. And they say, no. Then that is called democracy. That's what people want. And that is, for lack of a better word, fair. It's fair. People do what they want to do. And waving guns and forcing people to do it is the wrong thing to do. If they don't want to give, leave them alone. And if you feel so strongly about it, then here's what you do. You put your hand in your pocket and you give your money to whatever cause you want. Anyway, that's it. No more foreign aid. Sorry, just an appendum. I actually stopped the video there, but I just realized I just said no more foreign aid. We're not talking about no more foreign aid. We're talking about no more government foreign aid. That's what the discussion is. Government foreign aid. As an individual, you do what you want. As a business, you do what you want. Set up your foundations, do whatever you want. But everybody who gives the money, it's because they wanted to give it. And from the other person's point of view, not that they care, but let's say they do care. It's very different with someone saying, thank you, Australia, because you put your... Anyway, I'm belaboring the point. Anyway, whatever. This is the belaboring the point time. If someone said, hey, here's $100 because someone donated to help you out. Yeah, let's say you're in dire straits. You're sick or you're homeless, whatever it is. And I say, look, I'm going to help you out. And I pull out $100 and I say, hey, this is $100. And you go, oh, thanks, man. I go, that's cool. This is not from me, though. I didn't earn this $100. I used a gun and I took it from someone else. I mean, are you happy about that? I don't know. It's very different, isn't it? Versus, hey, this is my money that I earned and I'm giving it to you to help you out because I want to help you. It's like, no. This is someone else gave it. And whilst we're at it, if you look at history, because you think, well, are people generous or not? And if you look around, give them the credit and they'll be very, very generous. Because you think, well, what do rich people do with their money? Well, they're really selfish. Well, let's look into this. Look at the past. If you look in the past around town, here in Melbourne, you'll see a whole bunch of old buildings with, this is erected by Melbourne, you've got the Baillieu Library. Baillieu, big money family. Rich people, what do? After they've, if you look at history, what do rich people do with their money? Well, let's say they're beyond rich. They've got a mansion and they've got their stocks and bonds and the kids are rich and they're rich to the point where they're basically set for life, right? The grandkids are rich, everyone's rich, right? No one has to worry about money. What do they do after that? Well, they usually, I'm talking mega rich here, they set up foundations because Mr. Rich Man's wife, she's not cooking and cleaning all day long. What does she do? Well, Lady Packer or whatever her name is, or Lady Murdoch, or what does she do? Well, she gets involved with charities. Why do they get involved with charities? Because everybody wants more. So once you've got your mansion and you've got your Ferraris or the Porsche, whatever you've got, your Rolls Royces and you're famous, you've got the fame and the glory, Now what? Now you're thinking, well, now I want, what's beyond that is to get respect. And how do they get respect is by giving back to the community. They do that. Yes, they do. They set up foundations. They devote their time to that. And this is what rich people do. So this idea that people are horrible people, again, that I said earlier about horrible people not giving a single cent and who cares. But practically speaking, what would happen is, especially if you stop taxing people, give them all their money, they want to feel good. People want to feel good, and they want to, and even here in Melbourne, even people who are not filthy rich, I know someone in the Greek community, they left in their will, they had $100,000, they set up some division of some hospitals to help care of old people, and they've got a little picture on the wall saying this was donated by the blah, blah, blah. They get the respect, and give them the credit that they deserve. They deserve it. If Packer puts his hand in his pocket and he comes up with 100 mil to open up some wing of thing, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, whilst we're out, I feel a little bit weird walking around town. They've got this thing now where they put these street signs saying, oh, this is Johnson Street or whatever, and this is named after the Councillor Johnson. Oh, hold on, it's not Councillor Johnson. So he's uses the opportunity to be the mayor to name streets after himself. I mean, come on. So, yeah, rich people set up charities. Big charities, they set up libraries. I mean, I don't know about it in America, the Smithsonian. Americans, I think, from what I understand, are really into this stuff, the Smithsonian. I'm assuming there's some rich guy called Smith, or I don't know. But yeah, rich people do give to charities, and let them give to the people overseas. But again, this is getting aside from the core argument here, which is the moral argument of, A, it's not charity if it's done through force. Coercively distribution is not charity. And secondly, we're in debt anyway. So there is no argument from the practical point of view or from the moral point of view for this thing called foreign aid of giving money to other countries. And we're not talking about a couple of thousand here, which is beside the point. The moral argument doesn't change because of that. We're talking billions. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening.